And we're back. Literally back from vacation. I know it's been a hot minute, 2 weeks maybe since I've been here. This is a video I have been wanting to do for quite a while. Kind of a long time, honestly. This video is all the things I have to have like within arm's reach of me when I crochet. And I just, a sneak peek, I keep them all in this beautiful yarn bowl that I got from my mom for Christmas a couple years ago. And I just pick that up and carry it wherever I'm gonna crochet in the house because it's got all the things I need and I'm gonna share them with you guys. But at the end, I'm also gonna give you like 2 or 3 bonus items that I really think you should consider getting, but they don't fit in the bowl. They aren't with me everywhere in the house, but they're things I really, really am happy to have. And but just little extra bonuses. They're just little extra bonuses you might want. I'm gonna just show them to you. I love when people share things they love to use on YouTube when I'm watching videos. I love to see what other creators are making use of that I maybe wouldn't have thought of. And I definitely have some things in here that probably everybody has, some things that probably a lot of you don't use, and some things I just did myself that are literally you couldn't buy if you wanted to because I made them. But I need them when I crochet. So let's jump in. I'm not totally sure what to start, but I think I'll start right with this yarn bowl. This yarn bowl is like the perfect size. And sadly, I will measure it for you. I will measure it. Hold on. It's roughly 8 inches. It came from Joann. You can't get it from Joann anymore, obviously. I will link a couple very similar ones in the same size on Amazon, but we all have yarn bowls, right? I also have, do I have it here? Yeah, this is just decorative, but it's the cutest thing ever. I'll link it too because it's so fun. And I don't know if you can see the yarn is like spitting out of his mouth, like a little drip of fire. It's so sad. Anyway, this yarn bowl, couldn't live without it, but you guys, many things could take the place of this. You don't need this specific yarn bowl or even a bowl that's specifically for yarn. You could use anything you wanted. And I got this thinking I would use it to pull yarn through, and I do sometimes, but it's just become my catch-all for everything that I need when I am cruising around the house. I don't know about you, but I don't always crochet in the same spot. I crochet down here a lot. On the other side of this camera is like a great big sectional couch and my TV and the things that this is just like a big multi-purpose space for me. It's a very big room. And I work here. This is my desk. I work at my actual 9-to-5 job. I sit here and I work. My computer's right here for that. And so, yeah, I'm down here a lot, but I also go upstairs. When I'm cooking dinner, I'll take this up with me. If I'm gonna be just up there for a while cooking dinner, I do this while things are in the oven, or when I'm out grilling, I'll just crochet in between. I'll take this when I'm watching TV upstairs with my kids or with my mom. So this comes all over the place with me, and I keep my absolute essentials in it. So let's start with this. I believe that many crochet problems can be solved with crochet. And I needed something to kind of corral all these little stitch markers, needles, pins, hooks, all these things. I needed some place to corral them, and I just was playing around one day and I just made this. I don't know, is it a flower? I don't know what it is. It's just a thing that I made, and it's 2 or 3 years old at this point. It was in the first few months I ever started crocheting. And this keeps like all the little pokey bits and bobs that I have. And I just throw it in my yarn bowl and keep it with me. And I think we'll just start here and then go over the actual bits and bobs that I use that are in it. So let's start with these. I use these very common, easy to find stitch markers. These are from Amazon. I know you've seen them a million times. These are super cheap. I got a set of multicolored, 150 of them in a little container that carry a little divided container. 150 of them for like $6 or $7 on Amazon. You can get these anywhere. There are lots of different kinds. I pulled this one because I used to use this, I think because I thought it was cuter. They have a lot of similar ones. They have Clover makes some that are plastic and similar to this, but these are cute and I wanted to love these better, but at the end of the day, these locking ones are just better for me. These I find sometimes pop out, and that's the worst when you're trying to count, when you are relying on it to keep track of your stitches and it falls out. So I don't use these anymore almost ever. I mean, every now and then I'll stick one on, I don't know, every now and then. But these all the time, they work for me, they work for my big hands. These are great. I love these. These are what I use. I don't have fancy ones. I don't know if I would use fancy ones. Maybe I would. We'll see. Needles. I use 2 different kinds of needles. I don't use plastic needles. I know a lot of people do. I find that plastic needles, are the ones that I've tried anyway, aren't sturdy enough to get through some of the heavier duty amigurumi I make. And so I use these ones that are kind of an edge, kind of like a bent tip. And then I use these straight ones as well. Also super cheap for these. I think you can get 8 of these for like $4 or $5 on Amazon. I buy them every now and then. I lose. Where do all the things go? I lose stitch markers all the time. I need 150 at a time because I lose them all the time. Kind of like socks. Like, I don't know where they go. I just cleaned out my yarn bowl so I could show it to you guys, and there were just a whole bunch floating on the bottom, even though they're supposed to always be in here. Okay, these are one of my favorite things, and I don't know if everybody uses these. I don't remember how I found out about them. This is actually for brush curlers, and these are picks you use in your hair when you're using brush curlers. And you can get a pack of, how many were my, like 180, I think. Let me look. Yeah, 180 of these for between $7 and $8. And I get the multicolored, so there's lots of different colors. You can get a single color, but I have a bunch of these. They come in a box of, like I said, 180. And I just keep a few at all times here in my little cushion, my little pin cushion. So I can use these when attaching small parts to amigurumi. Like if I'm dealing with a small one and I just have to like use these like an ami stick. So like an ami stick. But these are just tiny little ones that just fit in really nice. They're super cheap. I have a gazillion of them and I love them a lot. And they're just very affordable. So I like those. What? Also have some short needles. Here's a lot of people use really long, I think they're like upholstery needles. I need to try those because sometimes, as much as I love this little needle and it works for me, sometimes I wish I had a longer one. And I was watching some people sew on amigurumi parts and they had these really long needles. I'm looking at you, April at the Cozy Buckeye. I think it was you. If you are here, check in down below. Could you just let me know where you got those? Were those from Amazon? Because I've seen several sets of upholstery needles on Amazon that look like they would be correct, but I do like these. I want something longer. I don't know how much longer. Some of those are intimidating and scary looking. If you guys use something that you really love, link it down below for me or just message me. I'm open to trying new needles. Anyway, this is my little pin cushion that I made and I'm really happy with it. We're gonna put that to the side and we're gonna see what's next. Oh, speaking of ami sticks, so I use those for little tiny pieces. For bigger pieces, I keep this. This is 5 knitting needles. These are 3.5 millimeter knitting needles, which is the size I keep in my bowl. There's 5 of them. I use these for bigger pieces on ami, and these work for like between these and the little picks. I can get away with using these for 95% of the things that I make. I do have bigger knitting needles that I would have to go get in my storage room that are like big Boye needles that I could use if I was working on a really huge project. But these I use for most of my little projects or my medium or even large size projects. These work really great and they are really affordable. I got a set for, I'll put it up on the screen here. There's a ton of them and in the set, and they work really well. I want to buy ami sticks. I want to be that person that has cute ami sticks, but I'm not. I spend all my money on yarn and patterns. And so I use these. They're a little scary looking. I can't have them around all the time when my son comes down because he loves plush so much. And to see spikes sticking out of a plush's head kind of disturbs him a little. Doesn't love it. So I try not to keep them out when he's coming downstairs. Ami sticks would definitely be cuter. Someday I'm gonna be an Ami stick person. I just haven't committed to it yet. So many people make so many cute ones, but I use these, and these fit in my little bowl and they work great. So speaking of, in that set that I just posted over here, this came with lots of free stuff, some stitch markers, some needles, things like that, but it also came with this, which is something else that I keep in my yarn bowl. And this is a crochet / knitting gauge. For amigurumi, we don't really use gauges very much, but I find this super useful for finding out the gauge of my crochet hooks, because not all of them have it marked on them. I don't know what you guys use, but I use Furls hooks, which I'll show you in a minute. And sometimes the actual size comes off. So I, for example, can say this is a 4.5 millimeter crochet hook, and you could just stick it in here at the 4.5 and it fits in perfectly. And if I try and do the 4, so I know that's the 4.5. It does say it on it, this one. If I go to the 4, it's not gonna fit. And if I go to the 5, it's too big. It's a 4.5. I think that's super useful for me because, like I said, not all my crochet hooks for whatever reason are marked. So I keep this around for that, and just for measuring things that I might feel the need to measure, which comes up more often than you would think. And I can't even think of an example of something that I would want to measure right now, but I'm really glad I have this a lot of times. So I don't know what that's about. I do also have this one that I got off Amazon. This came free with all the knitting needles. This was free. This is like $6 or $7. This is the Susan Bates version. It's metal, and that makes it nicer, maybe. And I got it even though I had the free one thinking I would like it better. I don't, because like this doesn't look like a clover hook. This is the clover hook. It's just in a resin handle. And so if I put it through here, I just worry that being metal, that it's gonna scratch my hook. It just feels like it might hurt my hook. So I don't love to use this one. I would use it, I don't know when I would use it. This was a bust for me. I'll still link it in case you like it. I mean, I can see why you would want the metal one. For me, this is a pass. So I just thought I'd show that. But this free one, love, love, love. Okay, let's just reach in and see what else we find. Oh, these are my scissors. Everybody has scissors they like. A lot of people like those cute little sewing scissors, like sometimes they look like a bird or something. I use these. These Fiskars are where it's at for me. They are perfect. They're bulky enough that I don't lose them and they don't kind of get away from me. There's this little locking mechanism it's kind of spring loaded. And it's so easy. It just works perfect with my hand. They're sharp, they're fast, they're the perfect size, literally spring loaded here. I just love these. They're like expensive. They're like 20, let's find out how much for you. $22 when I looked them up on Amazon just now. And that's a little expensive, but I have never once regretted having them. These are the perfect scissors for me for crochet. I've had this pair for at least 2 years and I love them. Okay, let's see what else we got in here. Oh, these. Okay, this is super random. But I keep a couple of sets of eyes in my yarn bowl. Just plain eyes, not ones that I really use very often. But I keep these because sometimes when I'm working with my amigurumi that I'm making, I want to kind of see where eye position is going to be, but I'm not ready to put the eyes in yet. Or I might be getting ready to embroider eyes, but I kind of want to make sure I get them where I want. So I just have these around just to kind of like pop in, especially when I'm going to embroider eyes, pop into the head of the amigurumi so I can kind of figure out where my placement's going to be for those embroidered eyes. So I just keep a couple random sizes of eyes in my yarn bowl at all times. So that's just easy for me to figure out. So this is just something that works for me. I don't know why I started doing it that way. I don't know that I've ever heard anyone recommend that, but that works for me. I just stick a couple plastic eyes, stick them in my thing. I can mark where I want the eyes to be. And then when I embroider, it's super easy. Oh, speaking of safety eyes, this is my safety eye tool. This particular one is from Momstitchetti, who I like. I got this right when she first released them, like one of her first or second drops. I got this safety eye tool. I like it. It takes a lot of abuse from me in inserting eyes. I had gotten a couple of others on Etsy. She doesn't sell these on Etsy. These are on her website, so I can link that. There's a bunch on Etsy and assorted platforms where people sell them. But this one, I think this is 3D printed. No. I don't know how she makes these, honestly. I don't know. This one is the heaviest duty one of this style that I have seen. The wooden ones I've gotten, I don't remember where it was somewhere on Etsy that I got it, but it broke. It just couldn't take me pushing down with all of my very generous body weight to put the eyes in. And I really have to push. I mean, you guys know those sinker eyes are no joke. Sometimes you have to really push hard. And so I use this most of the time, but I have been seeing the Crojo Mojo tool, and that is in my Etsy basket. And I think I'm gonna have to pull the trigger on it because that looks amazing. It's big. It's kind of big and bulky. That's the downside. I like things that are small that I can just keep with me. So I will still keep using this one or something like this. It did come with a little keychain thing on it, little ball bearing bead thingy. It just got in my way, so it's gone. I don't know where I put it. I don't need it for anything, so it's gone. But the Crojo Mojo tool is big, but for the really, really intense eyes, I feel like I might have to find a place to keep it nearby so that I have it in arm's reach, because this one I do have to like stop what I'm doing, go find a hard surface to push down on. I don't know, if you guys have the Crojo Mojo tool and you like it, let me know below. I've been seeing more and more people using it, and it looks promising. It looks promising, and it's not terribly expensive. It's like, I think $16 or something. It's not terrible. I'll link it. Crojo, I'm gonna make myself a note to link that one, even though I don't own it yet. So you guys can check it out if you haven't seen it, but I don't know. I don't know yet. All right, we have just a couple more things before we get to the bonus items. These, I made all of them. These are what I use as a finger protector where my yarn runs over. I make these, and I make them incessantly because I lose them all the time. The dogs find them and run off with them. I have these, I have this red one. Some of them, they start to stretch out over time too, and I have to make new ones, but they're so easy. I use scrap yarn. This one, I don't know what I did when I was making it. I just freehand them every time, and sometimes I get lazy and do a lot more double crochets, and sometimes I do a lot more single crochets. The combination of double and single crochets on this particular one, it makes this little like indent here where the yarn just perfectly flows. It's fantastic. And then I got lazy again, and I made these with a weight 5 I think, weight 5 or 6 instead of a weight 4. So I thought, oh, they're gonna be too big. But I actually love these, both of them. I think these are Premier yarns, like Puzzle yarn and Bloom yarn, I think. Because again, it's thick enough stitches that the yarn like finds a groove and stays there. And they work really well. This works better for me than anything else I'd seen. Crochet rings, those kind of things, they just weren't for me. For one thing, I have giant hands. Hands are big. I wear big ring sizes. Like I wear a size 10, 11, 11 and a half, maybe on my middle finger. I have big hands, like an 8.5 inch bracelet minimum for my wrist. Like I just am a big person. I'm just a big person. Big handed people, show yourselves. Big hand problem, big head problems. I can't wear hats. I'm just a big person. So to find something that works for me is hard, but also I just think these work great. And there's such a good use of scrap yarn. And I can make them from multiple fingers. I only really use them on my index finger, but every now and then I'll have another finger that is bothering me because of just how things are rubbing against it. And I'll have like I'll have like a place where the hook like continually is pushing into someplace on my finger. So anyway, I currently have 5 of them that are living in my yarn basket. And I couldn't live without them. I can't crochet without them now. I mean, very small moments. I don't know how I used to do it. I used to not use anything, but I guess my hands are baby hands now, and they're spoiled, and I can't crochet without these. What do you guys use? I don't know. Anyway, all right. I keep an assortment of crochet hooks in my yarn bowl at all times. We'll talk about it. I own an embarrassing number of fancy crochet hooks. I do not own, I've given away all of my like Amazon, when I first started, I got like those kits of crochet hooks on Amazon where you get like every size. And I've given all of that away, some to my daughter, some to Goodwill, some to friends, given all of those away because I have found hooks that I like. Like many people, I really like clover hooks, but those handles are small for my big hands. So my very favorite hooks, these are from someone on Instagram called LoveStitchesAll, and she makes resin handles, and you can choose what hook you want in it. You can either get like a generic hook for 50 cents more, or I think I wrote down all the prices. So the handles themselves are $27 to $34, I want to say. I think the 27 ones are on sale. You can sometimes find a sale colorway on her site. They used to, when I started buying these 2 years ago, they would sell out immediately when she would post them. Now you can find them in stock most of the time. You can find at least 1 or 2 different colors in stock. There's many different handles. There's ones that are slimmer. There's like a mermaid tail one, and she'll tell you ones work better for bigger hooks. Like if you're gonna do like an 8mm, there's only a couple different handles that'll handle. There's only a couple different handles that you can insert an 8mm or 7mm crochet hook in. Anyway, you can choose your crochet hook for it. So there's a generic one. LoveStitchesAll. The generic hooks are 50 cents. The Boye, you could put a Boye hook in it if that's your style you like, for $3.50, a Bates hook for $4.25, or you can choose a clover hook, which is what I do, for an extra $6, which is just like the cost of the hook anyway, right? So I get these. I do have a whole set of clover hooks also, but my favorite sizes of clover hooks I get made like this. And so this is a 5, this is an H or a 5, and this is a 4.5mm. I use these 2 sizes the most with the smaller chenille yarns. When it comes to bigger sizes, Clover only has plastic hooks, and I don't adore those. So I can sadly only use these for the smaller hooks. This is the Love handle. This is Love. What is it? This is Hope. This is a Hope handle, and this is a Love handle. She has a lot of different ones, like I said. There are 2 new ones that I haven't tried, the Grace and the Ahava. And I'd really like to try both of those, but I do not. Say it with me, people. I do not need more crochet hooks. 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 But she comes out with them in the prettiest colorways. Like every season, she comes out with the prettiest things. Love them a lot. They are so good for my hands. They take away a lot of my hand pain that I have from using smaller hooks. I'm either using these or I'm using these. This is a Furls Odyssey hook. Sadly, you cannot buy these new anymore. They don't make them. They kept saying they were gonna make something similar, but I haven't seen anything come out that's exactly the same as this yet. They do make these. This is a streamline, a metal streamline, which is super similar handle. These are all metal. This is, I don't know what this is even, but I find myself gravitating toward this handle. It's just more comfortable for me than the all metal, but they're both good. I'll talk about that more in a minute. This one also happens to be an H, and it's one of those ones that's not marked, so that I have to check sometimes. This happens to be an H. The only reason I keep it, because if I'm using a 5.0 crochet hook, I'm using this one, but it's got a really short neck, this Clover, with the way that it goes into this hook. The neck's really short, so sometimes I want a longer shaft. So I just keep this one handy just for that. So those 3 all the time. So the other ones that I keep in there all the time, I have a 6, 6.5, and 7. And these are all Furls Odyssey hooks. And I keep these all the time because I use these with my demi pearl, my Bernat, my loops and threads. I might use a 6. I haven't done with loops and threads like the Chenille Home Slim and I haven't used those much lately, but I might do a 6, I might do a 5.5, so I would have to maybe go pull out a different hook if I really wanted to do those, and I do have those. If you want the Odyssey hooks, you either have to get them on eBay, which I don't recommend, or from, there's a Facebook group for buy, sell, trade Furls hooks. And I suggest joining that group if you really want a Furls hook, a Furls Odyssey hook specifically, because the people will sell them for much closer to what they retailed for on that when they're like getting rid of their hooks, or they just have an over, they're destashing stuff. You can find some really good deals. That's how I got most of mine, because I did get some straight from Furls when they were just clearing out the end of their stock, but some of them I got from the buy, sell, trade group, and I didn't have to overpay for them. Full price, they are $26 for the, well, they don't sell these, for these streamlines are $26 full price. If you guys want a breakdown on Furls hooks and what I do and don't like about them, I would be happy to do that and how they crochet different, but I just want to show you real quick. This streamline and this Odyssey are different. And that's why one of the reasons I like the Odyssey so much better. And you can kind of, I really feel like if I can hold this up there, that you will see that this streamline one is almost smaller, it feels like. And it's just narrower at the top, and it's sharper for sure. It's just got a sharpness to it. I'm a Bates girl. I know everybody likes Boye hooks, and those are very, that style. I'm a Bates girl. I like these inline hooks a lot. This is more of a hybrid of the two, and this is really more like a straight up inline in my opinion. And it, like I said, it's just sharper. These are both 5mm. They both are going to be okay. This one's going, like this one you could almost get in the start of it to the 4.5 because it's so thin at the top, but this one is not going anywhere near the 4.5. It's not going through at all. So they're a little bit different. I really prefer these, which I know is not helpful because you can't get these easily. These are also great. They're just not my favorite of the two. These are great. I would get these if I didn't have these. And you can get these in metal, resin, or wood. So like I said, if you want a breakdown on Furls, let me know. If anyone really cares any more about Furls hooks, I would be happy to go through that. But anyway, I keep all those in my thing all the time. And I think that is all. Oh, no, there's two more things I keep in there all the time. First of all, this microfiber cloth. This you can't buy. This is, well, you can. This is from Zenny, came with my glasses. I keep one of these in there all the time because my glasses always need to be cleaned. So that's in there. And then this is my remote control for my floor lamp. And if you don't have some sort of lighting overhead of where you're crocheting, then God bless you, because I can't do it anymore. My eyes are getting old. When did that happen? My eyes are getting old and I need lighting, and I crochet so much better and I'm so much more efficient when I can see. So I have an overhead light now, and I'll put it here. It's got this great big long lighting area. It goes really bright or really dim. You can see it's got some presets, so I can set it. I can just push this and it's like a reading light. That's the one I tend to use most. But then I can make it more or less bright, and sometimes it's too bright. Sometimes if I'm working with a darker yarn, I need it more bright. So I do use this a lot, that feature, but you can also do it warmer or cooler yourself too. I tend to just use one of these defaults most of the time, and I love it. It's a total game changer, and it wasn't expensive. It was $30, less than $29.99, I think. Not expensive and a total game changer. So I just keep this also handy. And that's it. That's all that lives in my yarn bowl that I have to have if I'm crocheting. I do want to show you some bonus items that I think are also really cool. And oh, I didn't pull that one. Oh, it's here. Okay, I just had to pull this out of my rainbow basket back here too. You guys ask me about this rainbow basket from time to time. I did not make that. That actually was a gift from my mom, and I think it came from Home Goods or TJ Maxx, basically the same thing. It is so cute. I love it so much. It's holding my current project right now. It holds some random things, different things all the time. Anyway, I got this on Amazon, and this is like a multi-pack of all different colors, and you can get it This is like the prime, what is this one? What is it called? I don't know. I'm gonna link it for you. I'll put it here. This is like a multi-pack of all different colors of acrylic weight 4 yarn. And why do I like it? This is what I use. I don't have a huge, I don't have a huge stash of acrylic weight 4 yarns. That's just not something I use a ton of. I do use it some, but I'll just buy what I need for the project that I'm working on. So I don't have like an endless stash of different colors to use. But you know, if you make amigurumi with things like parfait plush or bunny, snuggle bunny, hobby yarn, or loops and threads, sweet snuggles light, or chenille home slim, you know that those are miserable to sew with. So these I find really useful when I'm trying to sew onto amigurumi that I've used that type of yarn with, because it just can't sew with that yarn for any more than a few stitches and it just falls apart. So I use these. I love these. Let me get one I haven't used. I don't think I've used this one. Yeah, I love these for so many reasons. There's so many different colors. I got this package. This package is $15.99 and you get, how many are in here? How many are in here, people? I don't know. 12. There's 12 different colors in here for $15.99. And they're just these like perfect size skeins. They don't take up a ton of room. And they're all have this tiny little center pole. Can you see that? They come just like this. So you just pull it out and you're good to go. Everyone has a little like 1 inch sticking out. Why can't they all do that? Mind blown. Anyway, so I use these all the time just to have different colors easily available that I didn't have to spend a lot of money on and that I didn't have to have a lot of room to store. So I have this set. I think I'm probably going to get the pastel set too, because sometimes these colors are a little more saturated than I wish. And that one's like less than 20 bucks for 12 pastel colors. There's a whole bunch of different ones you can get. And they're nice quality. They're Red Heart Super Saver yarn, which is exactly the kind of quality you need for something like that. If I'm making pumpkins and you want to do like the thing where you put the yarn through and pull it tight to kind of make the actual indents on the pumpkin, this works great for that. It's just a nice, sturdy, really useful yarn. It's not fitting in my yarn bowl, but it's something that's really great. And I think that would be a good buy. I think it's a good buy if you won't have a huge stash. Some of you do. Do you all have a huge stash of, am I the only one without a huge stash of acrylic yarn? I don't know. All right. The other bonus item that I wanted to show you that I have are these Saftey eye sizers. I really like this. I don't keep it in there. I should get a smaller one so I can. This one goes up to 22 millimeter and this one is for the bigger eyes. These are great. Honestly, they're great. They're really good. You can get all different kinds, but it's nice because sometimes you're asked, if you're like me, I do have a big organization system for Saftey eyes and I try to keep them labeled to what they are, but they get messed up. And so this one, we would just, I don't know what these are. I just keep them in here. So let's just find out. What size are you? You are, what are you? You are clearly an 18 millimeter. This is clearly an 18 millimeter eye. And so now I know. And these little ones here, what are you, baby? You are absolutely a 12 millimeter. And so this is just, these are cheap. How much is my Saftey eye tools? These were my Saftey eye size finders. Where are you? Saftey eye sizers. These were $6.50 when I got them. I just think that's a no-brainer for me. I like having these kind of tools. Anything that's going to make my life easier because I'm crocheting a lot. I know you guys are also crocheting a lot. So these little things that make my life easier, just stick them on your list, and every now and then when you need something extra on your Amazon order or you're ordering some stuff, just throw one of them in. You don't have to buy everything all at once, but this is just something that's kind of just nice to have. It's not important enough for me to give it space in my yarn bowl, but it's really nice to have. So those are my bonus items. I think that's it, guys. I think that's all I have for today. Thank you guys for indulging me while I shared this video. Oh, One more bonus thing I wanted to tell you guys. One more bonus. I have mentioned this before, but I wanted to hit on it. People have asked me lots of questions about it. I use my iPad for all of my patterns, and I do so in an app called Notability. And I don't remember why I chose that app. And then the other day I was watching, and now I remember, it was Crochet by Jenna. Let me see if I can find a free pattern. Okay, yeah, here's a free pattern. So you guys can see. So this is a free pattern. And I can go, can I? And I can make, like if I want to say I used a 5mm hook on this, I can just make that note anywhere on the page so I remember that I used a 5mm hook with this. Or if I want to notate here and it says arms make 2, and I might put, okay, this is really important to remember this line that I'm working in the front loops only. Like I might just notate that to kind of remind myself next time. I also a lot of times will make copious notes at the top of a pattern and tell myself all the things I want to remember. This one was great, super easy. 10 inches tall with parfait chunky. Like that, none of this is true. But maybe I'll put those, I promise I write neater when I'm not being watched by you guys and writing backwards. But I might just put all of that on the top of this pattern so I can remember it. And then I go and I have literally so many patterns on here, and I can search them by, like, if I want to find my whale patterns, all that's going to come up are my whale patterns. So it's just a really easy way for me to keep track of my patterns. So I use Notability. There's lots of noting apps, but these notating apps that you can use, there's a free version. It might be one of the ones that I pay for. I think it's maybe $15 a year. Let me look it up for you guys. Do I pay for Notability? There's a free option, but I think I'm using so much now that I use the paid version, but it is very, very reasonably priced. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, it's now $20. I pay $19.99 a year for my Notability for the upgraded version that I use. And it's amazing. Honestly, it saves everything here. I have patterns dating back 2.5 years on here that I can go look at and use with all my notes I had about them. And it's just a really easy way. And I can access this from other places. If I log in on another device, I can access it from that device. So I recommend, if you are someone who has an iPad or a tablet and you're pretty comfortable using it, I think it's a really good way to organize. So I just wanted to throw that in as also one last little bonus for today. And that's all I have. If you guys have questions, I'm gonna link down below everything I can think of that I mentioned during this. I'm gonna link some of the people that I mentioned to, definitely Crochet by Jenna, definitely Momstitchetti, and yeah, I'm gonna put as much as I can into the description for you guys to make it easy for you. If you have any questions or you have something that I did not use that you can't live without, let me know, because I would love to check it out and see if it will fit into my must-haves. All right. Thank you guys so much. Thanks again for being patient while I was out of town and took a little bit of time off. I had the best time on a Disney cruise on their new ship with my son and my mom, and it was amazing. It was so good. Really, really loved it. And definitely Disney cruises are our most relaxing vacations that we ever go on. So it was a delight. And it took me a little bit of time to catch up when I got home because work was, you guys know, when you leave work for a week and you come back, it's a lot. You have to pay the piper. I had to pay the piper this week at work, so I was exhausted most of the week, but I am really glad to be all caught up again and hanging out with you guys. If you have anything to add to the conversation, I'll see you down in the comments. You guys have a great week. We'll be back. Bye.